Hey guys, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the after show for The Path on Hulu. It's a season 1 finale, episode 10, The Miracle. I think we had a couple of miracles, which we're going to go over, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the after show for The Path season finale. Season 1 finale. It's titled The Miracle. Hey guys, I'm your host Susannah Kim. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Susannah_Kim. It's SUSANNAH_KIM. And I have my lovely co-host with me as always.
Hey guys, I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. Also, I'm really excited to report that I think I may have managed to get into the chat. So if any of you are there, I will try to keep an eye out. I have been trying. And to my left...
Thank you, Zoe. I'm Miaira Jennings. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miaira Jennings. Thanks, guys.
Lovely. All right, you guys, thanks for joining us week after week. This is our last one for the season. We'll be back next year, hopefully. Well, we know we have a second season. Hopefully all of us will be back to join you guys and talk about the next season. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about overall thoughts of the finale. We kind of talked a little bit before we started here, but let me get your guys' thoughts real quick.
That was good.
You know, I was sort of surprised actually to find out Susannah agreed with me. We were talking beforehand that I was kind of disappointed by this episode.
Really?
Yeah, were you?
I think in comparison to the last couple of episodes that they've given us, it didn't meet my expectations. Right. But I thought it was solid. I thought it was solid.
It was solid. I wasn't like necessarily disappointed, but maybe like a little underwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think because the bar was set so high. Yeah. The stylist was just, you know, I was hoping for something big like that, but I don't know that it got something huge. But the miracles that you know, I guess you guys were guessing on what would be the miracle this week. Yeah. Are you guys thinking the miracle was the baby or
there were
was it
a
Dr.
lot?
Meyer, you think? Yeah.
I'm voting the baby, but I have to say, maybe unlike you two, I was actually disappointed. I was not just underwhelmed, I was disappointed. And during the entire true disappointment here. I mean, the entire episode, I really kept watching and going, oh, I can't believe these characters are doing this. This is so out of character for them. And I know we'll get to those parts, so, you know, I don't want to blow my wad now, but, you know, it just, I felt like the characters were so out of character.
I think there was only one person that I felt that way about, but I guess we'll get to it, or should I?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well,
okay.
Oh, no, well, who do you think? Who do you think? Let's say
Allison. I kind of thought she was just too...
Yes. Okay, that's something I totally agree on. Okay, well, let's get into it. And Allison, that's totally where we're starting out. So we saw her at the end of the last episode. She showed up at the compound. Even from there, I was kind of like, really?
Yeah.
So she showed up at the compound, or the camp, or the Myris movement.
Yeah, the
location.
Compound,
yeah. She returns, and we see that she's talking to Richard, and she found out what was in Jason's journal, what he was writing about. For me, this was what was underwhelming for me. What was written and what she kind of got from it. I was like, really? He was ranting about climbing the ladder and wanting to climb it so bad. And that led him to commit suicide? And that led her to want to commit suicide? I didn't totally understand that.
That's exactly what I was getting at. That journal situation disappointed me, if anything. I just thought it would have been so much bigger. And I get that, okay, he believed he was going to, you know, climb the ladder and he would stop at nothing, even if it killed him. But at the same time, I would have wanted a little more in-depth, you know, tracking of his situation, his experience. And I just thought it was so vague. Just, you know, the ladder. I see the ladder. I want to climb it, but I can't.
Didn't say exactly why.
Yeah,
still.
I needed more for, I don't know, just personally.
See, and I felt like there was more coming. I feel like that will be in the next season.
You think so?
Oh, okay.
I actually, so all along from the last episode, I did think that she was trying to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And then someone made I think it was Christy, made a really great point in the YouTube comments that maybe she was going back to try and get revenge. So then I had that in my head that was a possibility, and I was on board with that as a theory. And then so she comes back, we get the idea that we do find out she did try to commit suicide. But I was suspicious when we did hear a little bit more about what was in the journal. So even though I had been on board the whole time that there was something in the journal that made her want to commit suicide, right? For me, I was like, did someone plant this? So I do think there's more to the story, but I think that what made her want it, if we're getting just that basic, I think what made her want to commit suicide was that she realized all this time she'd had a vendetta against Myerism and that she was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, to me, what caused the
just so
desire.
lost.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. and she's talking to Richard, which, by the way, I love Richard's character. This episode, for some reason, he won me over. He plays it so well that he's just like this very firm, devout believer, kind of like Sarah, like very much like Sarah, and he plays it so well. I really liked him.
Everything by the book.
Yes, totally. And he's someone that people seek out. I don't know. I really liked his character. But anyways, there's a point where she says, "I know you guys don't take people back." So I guess so no born again Miairas, right?
No, I guess not.
Right. I guess you can't leave. Leave and be born. Which also explains Tessa that. Well, I mean, I guess she hasn't tried to come back, but we get that now. She's officially she's out. She's out.
Yes. And surprisingly, it was Cal that reached out to Allison and welcomed her back in eventually.
No, not surprising, because he wants to do it for Sarah. See, I think he's all about power, Sarah. Right? Yes, and so he knows that if he welcomes her back, then he knows that everyone else sees him as so nice, and if he can then welcome Eddie back, that he looks good to Sarah.
Exactly,
so
Eddie.
He's just giving her a reason to take Eddie back, which is what she wants, clearly.
Right. And he's trying to prophesize or say that these are the last 3 rungs, encouraging forgiveness. And he quotes Jesus.
He sure
brought
did.
up a big J, saying he's another prophet of the light. I thought that was so fascinating. Are you guys surprised by that?
What did he say? There was something else, like, specifically that he said.
He quoted some Jesus.
It was about, though he who is without sin cast the first stone.
Right.
And that's,
straight
we
from
hear
the
all
Bible.
time. Yeah, we hear it all the time. And I thought it was interesting because I don't know if you guys have ever seen, and this is kind of going way off, but if you guys have ever seen Zeitgeist or heard of it, it's a video. I don't know, it's like a propaganda or I don't know, but it goes into a lot of conspiracy theories. Anyways, there's the first video, and the first 15-20 minutes of it explains kind of the origin of all the world's religions and how they all sort of came from the Egyptians and worshiping the sun, and the sunlight became son of God, S-O-N. I don't know, it's just super fascinating.
I've got to watch that.
It's so interesting, you guys.
I love that
It's called
stuff.
Zeitgeist, yes. It's so fascinating. It gets a little crazy. It kind of talks about 9/11 and some other conspiracy stuff. But anyways, I thought it was interesting that Miairism, it's totally coming from the same basic origin of a lot of other religions, and so relatable in that way.
Well,
I really like that.
It's interesting, speaking of that, so I spent a month traveling around India on vacation. This was several years ago now, but one of the temples I visited was the Lotus Temple, and it's for the Baha'i faith. And one of the things that the Baha'i people believe is that basically you can be Baha'i plus any other religion, because they believe that your religion does for you what you need. So therefore they can all coexist because everyone gets what they need out of each particular religion. So you could be Baha'i and Christian, or Baha'i and Buddhist, or whatever.
Very life is pie. Like they're using that.
So
all these religions.
So anyway, so that's interesting, like, in terms of going along with what you're saying. Also, we've got some great comments in the chat. Just so thank you, Fran CG, rather like hearts, and Claire Colgrove for being in the chat with us. And Franham CG actually says that he or she, I'm not sure, actually really liked the last episode.
Oh,
so.
good.
And hey, we have Joelle Michaels who just joined us as well.
Good. Thanks for joining us, guys. And we're early, so good on you for joining us early, too.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so getting back into it, at that moment where Cal introduces Allison back in, we have the woman who was apparently wronged by Jason, which I don't remember that coming up before. The woman, she had the head wrap on. They were at the meal gathering, and she was like, Jason, what did she say? Framed my husband.
She trained.
Oh, no, I missed that entirely. Are you sure?
The woman, and then she ends up getting up and
trained.
Yeah, I think she trained. Like how Cal is Eddie's R7 guy. Yeah, I think she said trained
and then
that
she just
way.
felt wronged. I don't know, but she was the first one to get up to hug Allison.
Yeah,
Did she feel wronged?
I thought she felt wronged,
Not
which
just
is why
because
he was encouraging forgiveness, and so she felt like, she was the first one that needed to show the forgiveness.
I thought just because Jason was the traitor that she felt wronged. Or
maybe.
if she felt
but
like
then
he was
why
a traitor.
her in particular,
Just because we needed someone.
I didn't even pay attention to that part much.
Maybe we'll find out more.
Maybe.
But what I did notice was, of course, Joy was the next one to stand up.
Of course you did.
I want to look good too.
Oh,
I forgive you, Allison. I don't know you, right? She just loves to get in there.
She does.
She helped right on that.
Well, we couldn't have a finale go by and not see Joy. I mean, she's been such a part of, if not the show, at least our show.
Yeah, right, yeah. All right, so then that display, that seemed to get through to Sean's mom. So Sean's parents came to the compound to visit Sean. It seemed like they were there to meet Mary, right, to sort of give their blessing and the marriage that's happening all of a sudden. What did you guys think of that? What did you get from his parents?
That was crazy. I was actually surprised to see that they were so open to everything. Because a lot of I just get the impression that a lot of people who are there, maybe they're not as connected with their outside family and friends.
Right.
So it was refreshing to see that they were openly, you know, able to come in and visit their son. They weren't necessarily opposed to everything that he's doing, which is also cool because they are, you know, not shouting, you know, you're in a cult, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. They're not
kind
Mary's dad.
Exactly. So I thought that was a refreshing perspective of the outside world and their connection to Miarism.
And it made me love Sean even more.
Yes.
Because it was like,
too.
his family is good. And then, oh my God, I know we'll get there, but Mary.
I'm done with her.
All right, well, I guess we'll get into Mary now. So, oh my gosh.
I'm so done.
I guess it just totally freaked her out that Sean's mom gave her her veil from the marriage. And she also mentioned that they had lost a daughter too, Sean and Sheila.
Right, 'cause we knew that. That was why Sean came into the movement.
Oh,
because
right,
his
because
sister was
you're
shot
right.
at school for being black, along with, I think, 6 other kids, maybe.
Right. So he definitely drove that message home. And I think that definitely helped out Mary's situation. And so Mary gets this veil, and it totally freaked her out because she's like, I can't. This is too normal. This is too good. You know, so sad in a way.
So sad.
And she seeks out Cal, of course. And I loved this scene. It was so like, so dark and gritty, and the things that she said, and she's like, we're both broken, you know, we've been hurt, we can't be fixed, and I love that Mary's the one that's able to see Cal for what he really is. You know, he is a psychopath, and she sees that. She sees how dark he is, and a lot of people are blinded by the light, you know, and she sees him for what he is, and I love it.
And that is interesting because we were talking last week about the connection between Mary and Cal, because at the beginning of the episode we had Cal looking out over Peru the same way Mary had in the first episodes. We had those connections, so it was interesting that this week they really brought it together and solidified that by coming out and saying, hey, here's why we're the same.
Yeah. And then Mary finally gets hers.
Exactly. Yeah. He stopped giving in, I guess.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty interesting timing because it was right before the wedding.
And then they got married.
Yeah. And then,
Sean deserves better.
Oh, totally.
I'm so done with Mary. Come on, Mary. You have a chance to get it together now.
You know.
And I mean, I guess, no, but real quick, I was surprised the redhead, did we ever get her name?
Betsy.
Yeah,
okay.
Betsy.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't come up in this episode, you know, or like say anything about the wedding or the marriage. Nothing.
That's right. I guess she's gone now.
I guess
her
that
purpose.
problem. Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, because she's taking vacation. Maybe we will too.
Yeah,
Remember,
that's right.
Cal did tell her
Sent
that
her
she
off.
had.
He loves to send them off. It's like, you're an issue, Delaware. Right? Okay, so I would say it kind of seemed like Cal was in the position or more open to being with Mary because he was rejected by Sarah. So we saw earlier in the episode that Sarah was talking to Cal, and Sarah's getting really worried about where Silas is. You know, she keeps calling him, he's not answering. She asks Felicia, and we were kind of talking about this before, Felicia sort of plants the seed, which we felt was sort of out of nowhere, that Cal disappeared that night. So ...
Yeah.
You know, and Sarah's like, wait, what? What did you guys think
I
of that?
just
Was
find
that
it
a
hard to
left field?
believe that all these people could. How long ago was that?
Right?
No, really. I'm
long
trying
ago
to
was it?
gauge how
Right?
long. It was a month.
It was a
since
month,
that
yeah.
night.
Yeah, because she when she saw Mary's dad, she said
She was like,
specifically, "Oh, you were here at the
The
last,
last
full
full
moon,
moon,
so
which
much has
I
been
don't
done."
get. Is he a werewolf? Why does he only come out during the full moons? I don't understand. He's like, I'll be here next full moon.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry,
I can
what?
come back out again. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know if I would honestly remember something like that unless Felicia had speculations from that night and she's just been waiting to say something.
Right, but why wait?
But why?
Why are you now saying it now?
See, my problem, and here's where my problem with this episode starts. It starts with Felicia and continues because I thought this was so strange and so out of character. Like, what? All of a sudden she thinks Cal killed someone?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? I mean, if we had at least had a history of, Cal was in jail for at least beating someone up before, but nothing. He has no history of assault and battery. And suddenly she's saying to Sarah, like, look into Cal. He might have killed Silas. I mean,
Right.
and especially Sarah even says that Silas has gone sort of radio silent before.
Yeah.
And she says, he normally calls me even when he's radio silent, and hasn't. But he has disappeared. And so for me, this sort of continued the whole thing of now Sarah being so suspicious of Cal and like checking up on him.
Yeah.
I just thought she was very fast to turn.
Yes.
And so Although, yes, we could argue that maybe she had suspected things or this or that. It just felt too out of character for me. So that whole storyline, starting with Felicia and continuing, that's where I sort of started thinking, not tuned out as much as thinking, oh, what just happened here?
See, no, I don't know. I wasn't as bothered. I let that slide only because I don't know how else we could have gotten Sarah to be suspicious. I don't think the idol would have been enough for her to look into Cal and wonder where Silas was, because no one knew he was there. So how else would she? I mean, unless she found like, I don't know, some of his belongings in Cal's place or something. But I feel like we needed something to get us to that point. I don't know what else they could have used, so I just let it pass.
I mean, it's just like Felicia had. I mean, I guess she kind of said she talked to Silas right after Cal, made the decision about the families, and he was really upset. So she thought he might come. So she kind of mentioned that, she thought he might show. But I wish it would have been like he was coming, or like he said he was going to show up next week sometime, or something like that. But
or even then, I feel like if she had said I talked to Silas and he was going to talk to Cal, I would have at least bought a little bit more than this phone call with. By the way, they had talked about how they have so much money and they live in this gorgeous house. Did you guys notice the background through the windows? They had this like amazing ocean view from their house. I was like, Felicia, like Miarism is a great, clearly pays well to be the founder of a movement. So they had a really great backdrop.
And in that conversation too, they bring up the snow owl again. So the same owl, I assume the same owl that we saw Cal saw when he was burying Silas. And I remember mentioning then, like, what does that mean? What does that symbolize? And we weren't sure if it meant anything, but apparently it does, because now Sarah's seeing it. And Zoe did us a favor and looked this up.
I did. So I thought with the snake and with the owl, I thought, okay, let's look up what the actual interpretations are of snakes and owls in dreams, because I thought, these clearly aren't coincidental. So if we want to look at owl interpretation in particular, it symbolizes expanded awareness. And it's interesting also, it says that they are often perceived as a symbol of death. I'm talking about owls now, as a symbol of death and unconscious. But among Native American tribes, it says specifically that they don't see death as a negative. Death really only carries negative connotations for Western people. So the owl can be seen as the guardian of the underworld and messenger of secrets. So basically death can also be a transformation, which is why Native American groups don't see death as necessarily a negative. And let's see. The other thing is that, I covered that it can be symbolically as a death as a transition in life versus actual death. And then as far as the snake is concerned, I don't know if we want to wait to talk more about snakes, but it has to do with transformation as well, shedding your skin. And so it can also be a symbol for the untamed part of yourself, an untapped resource, or it can also represent intuition and spiritual aspects of yourself, which I thought was very interesting. And finally, let's see, there was one more. No, I think that's all of it, basically, about the snake.
Like talking about transitioning. I think it relates. I mean, it seems to apply to both Dr. Meyer, right? And also Silas, unfortunately.
That's what I got. I thought Cal was the snake and Dr. Meyer was the owl, and that dead bird was Silas, and then Eddie put it all together. But we don't know. That's what I related them to the characters, but that's also a good point, the interpretation as far as the dreams are concerned.
But it could be both. Going back to Life is Pi, that's exactly how the book and the movie can be interpreted too, that they're religions or people so in different ways. So
perception is reality, right? And so right after that scene we see Sarah tell Cal, she's like, it's important that we keep things professional. She's like, let's keep it professional. He's like, for now. She's like, no, for always. She's like, this ain't going anywhere. And Cal was totally hurt by that. He was butt hurt. And then Sarah proceeds to ask Cal where he was that night. He lies. And she goes to ask Isaiah. He lies. I was totally surprised by that. So Cal covered his bases, right? Yeah. So he's a scheming little. And Sarah's having a hard time at work and at home. So we see earlier in the episode that back at the Lane house, or not at the Lane house, but in the household, Eddie's being asked to sign a sort of confirmation that he's a denier, which then in turn means that he can't see his family anymore. Right. This is a big deal. So they're not only, you know, making these rules as something to follow, but they're making like legal documents for these things. Like, that's not nice.
Not at all.
And Eddie's, you know, obviously torn by this. He refuses to sign it, and Sarah, you know, gets on her 8R on her 8R pedestal.
Ooh, and she's like, about that moment.
Right?
Yeah, pulling rank. That was great. I loved it too. I really loved it.
Last time I checked, you were 7R. So, like, okay,
do things my way. Thank you.
I'm about to be the guardian of the light.
Yeah, exactly. So Eddie does have to leave. He says bye to his kids. This moment kind of disappointed me a little bit because I kind of wish the kids took it a little harder. I know Summer was kind of asking questions, and with Hawk, he sort of just said happy birthday and said bye. But
I wanted Hawk to be mad.
Yes, I wish Hawk threw a huge fit. Summer threw a huge fit. So that way it really affects Sarah more. Sarah, I thought, had a pretty appropriate reaction. She kind of broke down a little bit, but I just wish the kids like had been more affected, because they would have been, right? I feel like.
Well, I feel like the daughter, Summer, because she's younger and maybe more indoctrinated at this point, that although she would have on one hand been sad, she'd be a little more like Sarah, where she'd also feel like he has to leave, that it's a foregone conclusion.
Rules,
right? Whereas Hawk, who was a denier like an episode ago, I thought he should have left too. Why is he suddenly taking his vows when he had been ready to leave and go off with Ashley? So now Ashley breaks up with him, and when he's ready to take his vows, I thought I would have definitely seen him going with Eddie. So that really surprised me that he didn't have more of a reaction in that direction.
Especially because they took the same walk. He took something totally different from the same walk. So I figured, exactly like you said, Eddie leaving would be sort of an okay for him to say, I want to leave too.
I thought so,
but I guess now he's thinking, well, now I'm going to take my vows, and then I'll just come back like Allison and then just be readmitted. Okay, so anyways, Eddie is forced to leave, and then he starts having his visions, and he's not on his juice. There's no green juice around. He's very sober. And he's back at the, I'm going to call it a motel. Sarah said it was a hotel.
Oh, no, that was a mo for sure.
Exactly. Not a hotel, not no Holiday Inn.
Yes.
No, it was grody. That wallpaper was terrible.
That set was so well done, because I did not want to even like touch it.
Yes. The bathroom, nothing.
Yes, so well done. So I love that. And he starts, that's where he sees the snake. And that's the first introduction to that. And he kind of freaks out. And at that moment, Detective Gaines is reintroduced. And I loved his storyline. This was really sweet. So he calls back to apologize to Eddie. And then that leads to Eddie visiting him at the hospital, and Eddie meets his wife. Is her name really Susan, or was that just like a...
It's a fake.
It's a fake,
Oh,
right?
no, I think her name is...
Oh, it is?
And
Susan.
that she had to cover when they said her real last name.
The last name was
because
a cover,
Abe is using a fake name.
Exactly.
He's Sam, but I
Which,
think
by the way,
you're
you were right.
Sam Fields.
Abe
Oh, that's where I got Sam. Okay.
We put it all together.
See?
And I
knew
think
I said Sam somewhere. I was like, that's wrong.
you're right.
Okay. So he meets Susan, I think. Susan. And then he tells Detective Gaines that he's leaving the movement, but he still prays for the baby.
That
which
was so nice.
So well done. And the way he does it too is still so genuine, which I thought was beautiful, because it's like you're leaving the movement, but you're still doing this so genuinely. And I really like that Susan saw, or she was there to kind of envision, or not envision, but to see that. So I wonder if maybe that'll lead her to being...
No,
okay.
not on board.
I'm so on board with Abe being a believer.
Yes.
Especially after the miracle in the end, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, okay, yes. All right, so continue on.
Yeah, continuing. Sorry for that sidetrack.
No, I'm excited.
Oh, and also, speaking of the production designer for the sets, also, I just double-checked. It's Russell Barnes, so he's the production designer. So, great sets. We've definitely been enjoying them, especially that Gruddy Motel.
Right. When you notice it like that, I think it's a compliment. When you're noticing things outside of the actors. And, okay, so Eddie's having his visions. Like you mentioned earlier, he sees the dead bird, which I thought was a dead hawk for a second. I thought that was a hawk.
Really?
And I thought it would be the same hawk that Sarah saw. Because I'm like, they're seeing the same things. Yeah, because Sarah saw a hawk when she was, on her ayahuasca trip. And I was like, wow, they're seeing the same. Because they both saw the owl.
Maybe
they both see the hawk.
Did you guys think that maybe Eddie is supposed to be the other co-guardian of
Yes!
Totally
that was my prediction. Sarah and Eddie.
Yes. Totally. Okay, so then that leads to, and we get kind of a little bit more of that too, because Eddie meets with Richard now because he's freaking out about all these visions he's having. He seeks out Richard, and they're sitting in the car, and then Richard's the one that brings up, this is the lightful. Yes. You can't deny it. I'm sorry, but it is the light trying to communicate to you, which is beautiful. And also, I love that Richard seemed sort of, he was kind of like fascinated by it, you know? Did you get that? He was sort of intrigued,
like, what
and in
kind
a way,
of visions?
he was slightly like seems like to have a bit of respect for Eddie in that fashion. You know, he was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" You know, I loved that, and I thought it was interesting that he was the one to enlighten Eddie in that way, because I never would have expected at all the people that it would be Richard to kind of push him, you know, to pursue it more.
Yeah. And I guess it makes sense, too. I mean, Eddie has been very well liked in the movement, and he's married, of course, into sort of the first family of the movement. So it makes sense also that people wouldn't want him to be a denier and to go away. So, like, oh, you're having visions? Hey, the light's talking to you. You haven't left yet. There's still a chance.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, he can still come back from all this.
I mean, and he's, like you said, he's associated with Sarah, so even more so, I think there's that push to just want better for him. Okay, so then Eddie ends up showing up at his home at the Lane house, which is his own home, and he gives Summer her invisible pen that she wanted, which was sweet.
So
that was
sweet.
A sweet
Oh, but how creepy when she was writing all over everything.
I thought that was going to be like
the blacklight.
Pictures of ladders and Jason. Really? I thought it was going to be, I mean, I just thought it would be more meaningful
so
than
creepy.
whatever.
Really? I wasn't creeped out by it. I was just kind of like, can she reach that high? I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
I thought it was whatever. I just thought they could have made that a little. I mean, what if she had some visions, writing like the whole family's spiritual? That would have been cool. But
I thought she was going to use it as a way to like talk to her dad, since she can't, you know, like talk to him all the time.
Well,
or
she
whatever,
did.
but,
Daddy, come back. It was like, I think because in movies, whenever there's someone who's crazy, you know, they're scrawling all over, and then with the black light, it just creeped me out. Like she has been possessed.
Oh man!
So I did not love that.
So, but I did love the moment where he showed up at the house, and then afterwards, Sarah is totally affected by that, and she tells off her mom. Sarah's mom is like,
so glad.
Yeah, she's like, it's gonna feel good. What? Those are the words you're gonna choose? And Sarah tells her, she's like, F you, it's gonna feel good. She's like, what about me? I love him. So I love that moment. I was crying.
Me
I was
too.
Totally
Oh, you got it.
No, I wasn't crying. I mean, I love that moment.
Oh, I cried
You
about
cried?
everything.
I
Any
usually cry
commercials,
about everything too. But I didn't cry about
everything.
that.
My cat was sitting on my lap, and he's like, what is falling on me? It's just like, so yeah, I was bawling. I thought it was so sweet.
Glad to finally see her stand up to them and really question, why am I doing this?
Exactly.
You know, is it really that bad? So I'm glad. Hopefully we see more of that next season.
Yeah, so she does have a sense of right and wrong.
Yes,
You know, she's not totally
that was
blinded to
refreshing.
the light. Exactly. And I like that Hawk saw that happen too.
Yeah.
You know, kind of had him in the corner.
Yeah.
Well, I think also that this foretells that I think Tessa will come back in season 2.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
I'm excited
my
for a
early
reunion.
prediction is that I think that reference to Tessa means she's coming back.
Oh, the forgiveness and the fake wrongs that are written.
And just that also now Sarah sees that how much she misses Eddie. I don't know. I just feel like I feel
totally
like
for
she's
that.
got to come back. So.
And so somehow that encouraged Sarah to commit deeper to her faith, and she accepts Cal's sort of, you know, fake recommendation from Steve that, you know, they want to lead the movement together, which I thought was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't see the motivation for that exactly. I didn't see exactly what clicked in her to make her say, okay, I want to do this now, you know? She woke up, got out of bed, looked out the window, and it looked like she saw something. I wanted to see what she saw, but it
never came
up.
up.
There was nothing that she saw in particular that made her like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
This is reason number like 387,000 in this episode that I thought Sarah acted out of character.
Well, yeah, a little out of character. So she shows up to Cal's place, and, you know, she tells him that, hey, I'm going to join you on Friday, and they're going to be on, so were they on TV? I wasn't sure
No,
what
they
the
were
camera thing was.
they were live streaming them to the other Miaira's compound.
Okay, I getcha. So anyways, so they have the big celebration the next time, or the next, I think it's the next day.
Yeah.
And it's the day the book was finally finished is what they're going to celebrate. And they do so with these 3, what do they call it? 3
ceremonies.
Yeah. 3 So recommitment of a denier, which was Allison. We have the wedding of Sean and Mary, and the taking of vows, which was Hawk. So that was kind of sweet that they were able to include all 3 of those. And I thought the moment was sweet. And the way it was shot was well put together with Eddie kind of in Peru now. And
Yeah. I mean, it was a good past, present, and future. But if we can go back to when they were like on stage being streamed, I was also like so creepy with how they were holding hands like a married couple, and he was trying so hard to like grab Sarah. Like, look, we're like a married couple. This whole episode, I don't know, and I guess that part I buy. That part just creeped me out. That was into disbelief.
And that's kind of when he was going into telling everyone that Steve's now gone, you know, and he said that Steve chose to transcend his his earthly form or something and became pure light. I was like, what does that look like?
I literally thought I was gonna open the door and show him the light. That's why I thought they were standing. Did you guys not wonder why they were standing over there, like just randomly by the door instead of over in the center of the room or something?
True.
I thought he was gonna be like, and here he is, and the light, and
it's just a spotlight.
Steve. That's what I thought. It didn't happen. So
awesome.
I expected, I guess, to see like ashes or something. I did think we were going to see some remnant of Steve.
Yeah.
But I guess if he transcended,
then
he
was like, he's here.
Yeah.
But he's also dead.
Exactly. No, they should have opened the door and let the light shine through and
just said that was
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
And
also,
if it's a cloudy day, so
in this, I was wondering, I didn't see them. Did you guys see Bill and Felicia at all? Bill?
in the room, you mean?
In the ceremonies.
No, I didn't.
No, they must have just been live streamed. I didn't notice them. If they were there, I didn't notice.
Where did she
I
go?
didn't see them either.
Well, wait, they were never there. They were in San Diego
left.
at their house, remember?
Okay.
They're at their house with the beautiful ocean view.
Yeah, right.
That Myerism has paid for.
Myerism checks. I'm with it.
All right. So that same night, Mary's dad shows up again. He loves to show up for the big celebrations. And then he tells Sarah that he saw Cal that night. And I knew it. I knew that he was going to come up again. I thought it was going to be to Detective Gaines. Yeah. But it ended up being to Sarah, which is even better, sort of. And he tells her that he saw Cal that night, and Cal was not looking good.
Yeah.
He was in a rush to get out of there, 2 a.m. So definitely this leads Sarah to question things with Cal, and she breaks into his office. Breaks into his office.
Again, number 370, whatever.
Breaking the law.
I mean, she went snooping into, Eddie's stuff and found his phone, so I think...
Snooping, yes. Breaking the window, no.
That
Snooping,
was
yes.
weird.
The glass, no. The glass was like, she's a crazy person now. I mean, I think I'm in the minority that I haven't thought she was totally crazy this whole time, but breaking the glass is different than just like opening the door and it's open, and so she's going to look on the computer and snoop. Okay, fine.
And plus, I was she could have found something more than just the fact that Cal wrote a Word document or something.
Yeah, I know, What did you find exactly?
Last 3 rungs by Cal. Like, what? I thought she could have found, Silas's necklace he always wore, tucked over there by the rug, or, something, just something more. But I guess they have to save that. The whole Silas situation, they have to save
that.
Or
blood or something, but yeah, I see what
you're saying. I think also, though, it does answer a question from a few weeks ago about does she realize that Cal is actually writing the rungs? And so apparently the answer is no. She did not realize. I also have to say, I think there was one comment on iTunes, one on YouTube saying we laugh a lot. You guys, if you don't want to laugh at this, because it's pretty funny, then you're in the wrong show.
That I feel like, it's okay for us to laugh.
Every now and then we can let one out.
Trying to keep things light here. Yeah. Because I don't think I laughed not once in the show. Watching
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Ever.
I mean, if you're not laughing as Miaira is saying, what did he write? The rungs by Cal? The wrong chat.
Wrong chat. Exactly.
So funny.
All right, so Sal. That's Sarah and Cal, right? Yes. That's what we decided? Okay, so Sarah confronts him, like we said, and she now is determined she's going to find out where Silas is. I mean, I'm thinking, why don't you just ask Eddie where his hole is, and then he'll just lead you right to Silas's grave.
Right.
No?
Do you think she knew Eddie?
Come together.
Do you think she knew Eddie dug that hole? Do you think that they all have to dig it, or was that just Cal's thing with Eddie? I wonder.
But I do think that it'll come back together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll bring it up that, hey, I dug this hole. It's kind of like a grave. So I don't know. Hopefully that comes back together. And then finally in the end, we get our big reveal. Eddie is in Peru. It starts with his nightmare. He has a snake coming up under the covers. So,
so phallic, too. Another snake interpretation.
That's true,
so good.
The bed and
right up his leg.
Up the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right up the middle. So that leads him to go to Peru, and he sees that So first he sees the empty bed, which then I thought, oh, Dr. Meyer's gone. He's dead. He just, he burst into light. He's gone now. But then he looks over and, oh, there he is. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I love that scene.
Zoe and I, we kind of mentioned, talked about it a second ago. We have different thoughts.
It sounds like Susannah and I had like an entire conversation, and I promise
you
guys did not miss out. We talked very briefly. We talked very briefly.
So
I can't decide, but at this point, I think I will put my money on it was a vision. He just looked too sick before. I think he really is dying or dead.
But I was like wondering if he resurrected like Jesus, or if he was just having a vision of Stephen, like, giving him a message of, hey, like, I really did transcend and into the light, and this is really your calling. You're supposed to do this. So I think it was a little bit of both.
See,
but I'm leaning towards the vision. I don't think he was physically there, but I think he really did. See, I don't think he was physically there, but I really think he was there, like, trying to tell Eddie that this
no,
is
you
for
can't
him.
have it both ways. So you think he's a ghost and not a vision?
No, not
then.
a ghost. I think he's a vision, but I think his vision was to relay a message to Eddie that this is what's happening.
So the vision was there for Eddie.
Yes, like this is not...
I think the vision was there for Eddie.
Yeah.
But Eddie has a history of having the vision.
Yeah. But I don't think he was physically there, but I think he was there. I don't know how to explain this.
I think for face value, guys. I was like, oh, Dr. Meyer's in remission. Cool. No.
That would be pretty cool too, though. If he was.
Cool.
I mean, how crazy would that?
It's just cancer.
That would shake up the plot a lot if he survived.
That's what I'm hoping.
Especially
and that's why I wanted that to happen. Exactly, because I want him to come back and be like, whoa, son.
That would be awesome. I would love that, but I just thought it was vision too.
Oh, man.
Just for Eddie to know that things were. That the light does exist, I think.
Right.
Something like that.
Guide him back in.
Yeah, to guide him back in.
That, hey, you and Sarah have the same
you have a
vision.
purpose in Myerism.
Go tell Sarah that, whatever.
Yeah.
Now the deniers are accepted.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder.
Committed.
But, like, if Meyer was back, if Dr. Meyer was back, do you think he would agree with Cal to no longer say adios to the deniers, because he's the one who wrote the first rungs to say adios?
And when I saw him, I was also thinking of what Silas said, because Silas is the one that said that Dr. Meyer is the one that said that the movement's over.
That's true.
So maybe he's gonna just wake up and be like, you guys, I changed my mind. I'm just
not over.
Right, yeah.
That's so true. And I do wish they gave us a little bit more of that, I don't know, conversation, vibing between Silas and Dr. Myers, because he was so sure that Dr. Myers communicated that message to him that it was over. And I just want to know why,
Yeah, we never got a why.
We don't know why. Maybe we'll get it next season, but I feel like that's really important.
Totally.
Because Silas seemed like a pretty, like, trustworthy man.
Yeah, he's an OG.
Everyone trusted
him.
So I don't know why he would make that up, if he would make that up. But if he did it, what's going on? If the movement is dead, what is all this?
Right, exactly.
Right. No, I agree. I feel like when he said it, he meant it.
Yeah.
So maybe he actually had a conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe like, while Dr. Meyer was coming in and out of consciousness, he said that. So I guess it could also be then interpreted that if he said it while he was in and out of consciousness, that he didn't mean it.
Yeah,
so
maybe he
now,
was just dying and scared and, hey, I'm dying. Maybe this isn't real. And he didn't know until he
transcended.
Yeah. Or maybe he did mean it, and maybe that is the next movement of the movement, is that it's over, maybe, because he's the one to decide, right? He's the one that started it, so he'd be the one to say, hey, this is over, and that would just devastate everyone, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting question, though. If you're the one who starts something, do you get to be the one who also ends it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting question. I mean, now they've got all these followers.
I feel like...
Do you get to say, like, sorry, guys, I'm done now?
I feel like not at this point, because we see that Sarah and Eddie are having visions. So it could very well be true, unless that's just completely not connected to Myerism, which I don't see what else it would be. But I feel like at this point, it has to either be real or we need an explanation as to why they have these powers.
Yeah.
I say powers loosely. Because it's not a magical show. So.
I mean, I hope it's magical. I love that aspect of it. I love that it's not just, the physical stuff. I love that it's, what do you call it, metaphysical? That sounds dumb, huh? But anyways, I guess that's it. Before we wrap up, let's talk about some predictions.
Oh my gosh.
For season 2.
I don't even know what to say.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, guys.
Wait, before we get into predictions, did we really talk too much about the big miracle? I feel like we missed it.
Oh.
The baby?
The baby?
I guess we did. I just sort
The
of...
baby healed?
Yeah, I feel like we sort of missed
baby's
that.
okay.
I feel like we skipped that, but maybe not.
yeah.
Well, do you think it was because of Eddie? Because I totally do.
Yeah, I think, I think I said
Yeah,
earlier.
okay, I
like,
think so too.
Eddie prayed just enough to get the baby
Yes.
through, and then maybe to get Miaira out of his bed. That's what I thought.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, maybe we did talk about it. I just felt like I felt like that was the big, you know,
Yeah,
to
no,
let
it
go.
was,
And then
yeah.
it's like, wait a
for
minute.
Sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
I
But we
think-
all agree that it was Eddie's powers.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, just like Sarah brought the other baby back.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that Susan noticed it, you know, because she's mama, and she's going to be like, whoa, you saved my child, you know? So it has to mean something to her. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm interested to see if that
I
comes up.
can't wait. Oh, I don't know.
All right, so predictions.
Sorry, yeah,
Anyone have
predictions.
any big predictions coming up? Anything you guys want to put some money on? Just kidding.
I will put money that I don't think that Stephen Meyer is alive. I think he was a vision. I will put money on he was a vision.
Okay, I'll put a quarter on that.
I kind of want him to be alive now, though.
Right?
Now that you said that.
I think it'll cause so many
I
more
think that'll
issues,
be
you
so
know? Because we already
cool.
thought he was dead, so I feel like.
But if not, whatever. I get it.
Plus, remission's great. So.
Yeah.
Another thing to celebrate.
Right, yeah.
The day Dr. Meyer went
If
into
anything,
remission, right?
if the
December
movement is
29th.
over, at least, you know, he's made it. Wow, I don't know. I hope Eddie finds his way back and that he can tell Sarah what's going on and they can join forces.
Yes, that's exactly what I put.
I just
Realizing
know
their
it's not going to
powers.
be that easy.
No.
I just know it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah.
Because I think also it will come out that Sarah kissed Cal not once but twice.
yeah. Yeah, and I think the Mary stuff's gonna come out too. Mary has a little lamb, so I'm kind of hoping there's a little. I just hope everyone gets pregnant apparently, because I thought Ashley was gonna be pregnant
my
too.
gosh,
Remember?
by Cal?
That's right. No, by Hawk. Well, yeah. Well, Mary with Cal. Yeah.
No, yeah, Mary with Cal. Yeah, you hope Mary
hope
gets
Mary-
pregnant by Cal and the
Yup.
baby ain't
Yup.
Sean's,
And it was
'cause we'll know.
conceived
We will
before
know
the wedding.
if it's not
Yup.
Sean's.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
they
gonna
did
come
that
out
on
and be like,
purpose? Do you think they did that on purpose?
They should, yeah, hopefully.
I love it.
I love it
can't
too.
wait.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited.
I
What
know.
else? What else?
What else?
What about
Let's see.
Ashley and
That's
Hawk?
what I put. I put Ashley ? I don't know. I don't know if
know
Ashley's
either.
coming back.
I don't know. Yeah. I feel like she served her purpose and
think
now
so?
I think we tried to
Hawk
boot her
took
out a
his
couple
vow.
episodes ago.
I think Hawk's gonna. If Eddie doesn't think all of his visions are related to the light, or if he doesn't make sense of this, Hawk has to stray again.
Yeah.
It's too easy for him to just take his vows and okay.
Exactly.
You know?
And it was only because of Ashley. You gotta have
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
than one. Yeah.
I
right?
need
You gotta have
more.
a better
Yeah.
reason to
I need
commit.
more.
You know what? And talking about that, just I feel kind of irritated at Hawk. I mean, I guess normal teenage boy, but it's like every 2 minutes he's changing his mind. First he's
Exactly.
committed to the movement, then I like my girlfriend, but hey, I'm committed, but I like my girlfriend, and hey, now
So
let me
torn.
quit school and go to work and support you, and then
Yeah.
hey, now I'm committed. Like, I don't know, Hawk, come on.
Torn between girlfriend and mama. right? choices.
Tough
So,
one. That's it.
Yeah, I guess that's it, guys. I'm kind of sad. This is
Yeah.
over. Season
I
one's
know.
over. I've had so much fun with you guys
Me
every
too.
week.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for joining us every week and commenting, liking our video. It's awesome. Thank you for your support. Once again, I'm Susannah Kim. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Susannah_Kim.
I'm Zoe Hewitt. You can find me at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. You can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show. So come on over there and keep on chatting.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miaira Jennings and youtube.com/Miaira Jennings TV. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
See you next season.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.